Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the talk show and podcast where we have digital discussions, worlds of TV, film, music, news, lifestyle, sports, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest recently dropped her debut EP called Herogirl. Raissa is with us. Raissa, welcome to Popternative.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's an exciting time. The debut EP of Raissa is available. What is that? What's going through your head when I say that?
I'm excited. I'm happy. It's also been a long time coming. Because of COVID and everything. My EP was meant to come out a year ago. But I think everything happens for a reason. And I'm really happy that it happened now. And the response has been really sweet. And yeah, I feel really happy about it.
I do have to say the EP is fantastic.
Thank
so
you.
Congrats there. I'll tell you my favorite thing about it, and it's something that is a big trend in music right now, and I think Raissa, you as an artist, is a great example of this. When you listen to this EP, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of sounds. You're not limiting yourself in terms of one style of music. You're not limiting yourself in terms of one sound. You're kind of a genre-bending artist. What do you think when I say Raissa is a genre-bending artist?
I think thank you.
But it's interesting, right? Like, it's interesting all the different things artists are doing these days and experimenting.
I definitely think like we're kind of like in a lot of ways post genres. I think there are still a lot of artists that stick very much to like what a very specific genre sounds like. But I think especially in pop music can mean anything. It's popular music. It can be Kanye, Post Malone, Billie Eilish, like Kylie Minogue, like, you know what I mean? Like whoever, as long as it's, I think, making young people excited and making them want to get together around the music, right?
For sure.
So yeah, I definitely feel like I don't necessarily commit to a certain genre, but I do think, I like to think, so I recently, someone asked me what the EP is meant to be and all the like what the journey of the EP is. And I think it's kind of like a short film. There's different scenes and different moments throughout the movie. And they all belong together, but they're all different in tone and sound and lyrics, etc. Because I think in life, there's a lot of nuance like that. You know, you have good days, bad days, days where you feel empowered, days where you don't feel empowered, days where you want to have a pity party. Like there's just different moments in life. And I think reflecting that in music is always really cool.
Absolutely. No, for sure. The obvious answer to this question is, you hope they enjoy it. You hope they listen to it on repeat. They want to tell their friends about it. But could we dive deeper into what you hope people get out of listening to the new EP, Herogirl? Like, what do you hope they're getting out of it once they're done listening to it?
I hope that they're getting out of it that you can feel bad and not put yourself down. I try really hard not to do that in my music, and that your humanity is so important, and part of your humanity is what you feel and how you feel about others. And I think embracing the fact that we care about each other and that we need each other is really important. Herogirl is an alter ego that I created to kind of get myself out of a really dark, difficult time for me. But at the same time, it's also a manifesto and it's a state of being. It's an idea. It's about valuing human connection, valuing justice, valuing hope. It's about valuing the things that make the world beautiful in spite of the fact that the world isn't always beautiful. I think that's what the EP is about. And I think that's kind of the story I want to tell, not just with this EP, but I think the story of Herogirl isn't something that's going to be over anytime soon. And it's this, I want people to take away from it hope. I want people to walk away with it with hope and knowing that they can be the heroes of their own story and that they can, have so much to offer to themselves and to others, and that's a beautiful, good thing. Yeah.
Was there a lot of, because you said Herogirl, alter ego and all that, and you're like getting through tough times, but is there do you enjoy the comic book geek culture as well? Did that come into play as well when you were kind of putting this idea together?
100%. So my dad's a massive like comic book nerd, video games, board game collector, played Dungeons and like was the game master for Dungeons and Dragons in his hometown. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad and I grew up really close to my dad and really bonding over superhero movies and sci-fi and fantasy literature and like all this stuff has always been a big part of my childhood, especially with my dad. So yeah, for sure, that's a massive, huge influence. The Hero Girl, huge influence to the idea of Hero Girl and heroism and the aesthetics of it and some of the themes that I sing about, for sure, 100%.
Does it blow your mind how big that, you know, facet of the industry is, like the comic book geek culture? Like it's cool to be a geek these days, right? Like I grew up where it wasn't like a cool thing, but it's like it's cool to be a superhero now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's amazing to see how huge it is. I don't think it's surprising, and the reason why I don't think it's surprising is because so the whole idea behind Hero Girl is because of a hero's journey, which is a term coined by this writer Joseph Campbell, because he noticed that lots of stories followed this pattern, which he called the hero's journey. And especially stories that were really popular or that were in folklore or whatever. So Star Wars, hero's journey; Star Trek, hero's journey; Harry Potter, hero's journey; even Frankenstein is a gothic hero's journey. So there's like a lot of the stories that we all collectively love and relate to tend to be heroes' journeys.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that movies like that or industry or like board games like that or comic books like that really put a massive emphasis on that are popular, because it's something that we all feel like we can relate to, and that I think on a personal level we kind of go through heroes' journeys throughout our life like multiple times. It's a cycle. It's basically you start off in this familiar place, you cross, something happens that makes you cross the threshold into an unfamiliar alternate place, and then there you have a bunch of lessons that you have to learn, people that you meet along the way. And then ultimately there's like one big moment where you kind of become annihilated, whether that's literal and you die or figurative. And then you're reborn and you either change based off what you learned and go back to the original place with either a magical object or some knowledge or whatever, or you don't. And
absolutely,
we kind of go through that in our personal lives
for sure,
to bigger and smaller degrees.
That's interesting. Well, we got really deep here on superhero culture. You also recently dropped a music video, which is amazing and colorful and a lot going on. Was that the plan, like the colorful aspect of it? Like, what was kind of your obviously you're working with amazing groups making these music videos, right? What was the team's kind of goal with that recent music video you just dropped?
Okay, so basically because of lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, and I moved to the US recently and I was stuck in London, all this stuff, it's actually been really hard to shoot stuff. Shoot stuff in a timely manner, at least. Like, shoot stuff is possible, but there's like, you can't just pick up and go shoot something with like a full crew without testing and quarantine and all this other stuff that's obviously really important. And I was kind of like, I just want to have something that people can have as a visual with the song and not have to wait for all this stuff. And I used to make all my videos myself anyway before I got signed. So literally my boyfriend and our friend Josh, we use our iPhones in like my boyfriend's car and just like, and I got like, I got some toy like space guns off of Amazon. That was, I did my own hair and makeup. It literally was all
very DIY, very do it yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like I'd rather make something DIY that really reflects what I feel like I want to look like to people than doing something super high budget and high res that kind of misses the mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I don't think like that's news to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you look at the music video, it's like, I mean, it looks amazing. So
Thank you. Yes.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that. That's interesting, but it doesn't surprise me a little bit that much, because there were a lot of DIY projects. But I'm also realizing too that there's been a lot of stuff, but like that's been made like in spurts, like like a little bit here, and then they went back and finished it, or a little bit there. So I maybe thought too that maybe this was a music video that you were working on for like a while ago, like even like last year before the pandemic a little bit, and then it got halted. So we never know about the timelines. It's very confusing.
100%. Yeah, no, we like shot that video like a month before everything came out.
For sure. I do need to ask, what is it like working with Mark Ronson?
Okay, so I get this question a lot. We haven't actually physically worked together yet because of I'd be in London, he'd be in New York, and then he'd be in London, and
But there's interactions, right?
Yeah, there's definitely. Oh yeah, definitely
for sure.
So I know that I'm working with him like this month. I'm getting dates soon. So and that'll be like a good week or two of just like the two of us in the studio, which will be really cool. But I've definitely talked to him about music. I've gotten his feet. I've played him stuff. He's a very gracious, lovely gentleman, and I'm really excited to work on from scratch with him, which I haven't done yet.
Is that the thing in the music industry, even without the pandemic? Like, do you find there's a lot of like assumptions that happen and stuff like that? Like people assume, like I did not know that, like that you're not working with, like you have not officially like worked with him yet, right? People kind of read it and be like, oh yeah, like I'm sure they've been working together for a while, but like no, that's not the case at all.
Yeah, well, I think Mark's someone that has a lot of respect for artists and their work. So I've always, it feels to me like very much like he doesn't want to impose himself on my work. And
for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Which I
Absolutely.
think he doesn't, which I think is a sign that he doesn't have an ego, which is so important. Like so important. And that sometimes you find people that kind of like expect, have an expectation of like, oh, I have to be involved. And like he has so much, everyone at Zelig has so much respect for my work and how I want to do my work and who I want to do my work with. I think I've gone to him to play him stuff and like get guidance from him. And now I'm going to get to work with him. So I'm sure that that'll naturally turn into us like collaborating a lot more often.
It's the collabs.
And honestly, if it wasn't for COVID, like I probably would have already been like me answering this question would have gone really differently.
Oh, absolutely. No, for sure. But I find it interesting too, because features and collabs are like huge in music. And I just find it funny because obviously they've been around a lot, like forever, right? Like Mark Ronson's not the first one to do collabs, but for some reason when I think of like collaborations, like I think of him because he has been doing so many amazing collabs with so many different artists. Yeah. So it's just like, I'm excited about collabs for sure.
So yeah, he's definitely, I think, synonymous with artists collabing for sure.
Last question before we wrap up quickly, Raissa. I mean, whether you're a musician, people working in TV, film, writers, directors, producers, actors, you're all storytellers. So what's the story for you becoming a storyteller? Like, when did you notice or realize that music and performing was something you were destined to do?
I think I figured that out when I was really young, and then I shied away from it for a long time. I think I figured that out when I was like 5. Yeah. I was like, this is what makes me feel like me and makes me feel happy and makes me feel excited. And I think I definitely shied away from that for a very long time. And then maybe when I was 18, I moved to London, like 18, 19, I moved to London to go to university, to go to art school. And I got there. And the moment I walked into that building, it felt like this existential crisis descended upon me. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I cosplaying this life that isn't the life that I want? I'm about to step into this role that wasn't written for me in a movie that isn't for me. Like, why am I like conforming to what I think everyone expects from me? And like, I was still going to art school, which isn't that conforming, but like, I was definitely avoiding the thing that I wanted to do. And I think the reason I did is because it's scary to admit to yourself how much you want something. Because
absolutely.
Then there's the what if I don't get it.
Exactly.
Right? So you kind of like want to ignore it. But I had a moment.
The overthinking and all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, I can't ignore it. So I think I first figured it out when I was like 5 or 6. And then when I was 18, 19, I was like, okay, I can't hide from it anymore. I don't know anything about the music industry. I don't know anyone in London. I don't know how any of this works. All I know is that I've been writing songs since I was since I can remember, and I just need to figure it out. And it's worked out so far.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Well, Raissa, thank you so much for coming on the show, and congrats
so
with the
much
EP. Congrats with the EP. That's awesome.
Thank you, Petey. I really appreciate it. This is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, until next time, this is Raissa and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.